Hey y'all, Melissa here. Got a chicken I want to show you. We finished a flock of meat chickens here recently that was raised from July 23rd, 2025 to August 28th, 2025. I believe that made them 37 days old when they went to the processor, but we have one little meat bird that didn't go to market. So we raise Cornish cross meat chickens for poultry production, and in our last flock here during August of 2025, we actually had about 3 little meat birds that did not go to market, did not go to processing with their flock, and this is one of them. The other 2 actually were got by predators overnight, and she's the last one now. So she's actually quite undersized for what we would have wanted to take to processing to have made into poultry, and that's part of the reason that she wasn't taken with the rest of the flock. And now she actually has the look of a bird that's a little bit stressed, like the feathering looks a little rough, and she just looks cautious and concerned. So the stress is kind of showing on her, but she's had a good appetite and still drinking water, and she has great mobility. She was just undersized for going to the poultry processor. We do have another flock beginning on September 10th that will terminate on October 20th. It's really not a great option to keep her all of that time until October 20th and then let her go to processing. At that point, she would actually be quite overgrown, most likely, for what we want in a meat chicken. The meat birds that we raise, we actually get the poultry from and direct market that poultry to clients in our local area, farm to consumer. So she's really not going to now be a candidate for successfully completing as a meat bird for us. This is not an ideal pen for her either. She is able to stick her head partway through the gaps in these panels. She's not going to stay here overnight, but we had her in this little, actually it's a dog run that our dogs haven't used yet. So we had her in this little bit of a dog run to kind of give her some space from the dogs running around outside. But for the night, we're going to move her into an empty chicken house for overnight, because we tried putting her with our flock of egg production chickens that's still here. We have about 20 egg production chickens that are mostly right at 6 months old, and we tried to put her in the coop with them, and we had one black Orpington that was emphatic and adamant that this little hen was not going to be welcomed into their flock. So that was a no-go right away. She could not stay with them. It's really not a great solution for her to be alone either. So we interact with her. This is hilarious. It's cracking me up because she is actually looking up, like with that instinct to try to jump up on something and up and over. There's no way a meat bird with their stature, even at her size being small, there's no way she would make it up that high onto the top of that panel. And I was gonna say, she might be able to make it up to about half that height. If that top of that panel terminated at about half its height and she had kind of a rail there she could jump up onto, she probably could jump that high. But she's not gonna jump to the top of these panels because they're actually about hip high. And meat birds, they don't have that upward mobility. Obviously an egg production chicken could do that with no problem. So she is 40 days of age as of now. This is August 31st, 2025 that we are recording this. So she really is just gonna kind of be a pet and a yard bird. We'll keep her in a totally enclosed chicken coop overnight. For now, she'll have to be by herself in that chicken coop overnight, and then during the day we can either let her free range or she can use this little, what was set up to be a dog run, but it's fine, she could use it. So until we could potentially have some suitable peers for her, she really is gonna kind of have to be a loner and more or less a yard bird. So we'll be giving her a name. We don't usually name the chickens, but we'll be giving her a name. Feel free to suggest one. Honestly, being a meat bird, don't really know how long she would continue to thrive. A lot of times, if you try to keep meat birds around, once they get overgrown, they're gonna start to have a hard time thriving. So we'll see. But sometimes the undersized ones have a little more longevity simply because they grow slower and they have time for their organs and their legs to all gain extra strength while their body is growing slower than a typical Cornish rock cross meat chicken. But anyway, so that's an undergrown Cornish rock cross meat chicken, at least compared to our typical production system relative to what we normally see at 40 days of age in a meat chicken. She would be considered undergrown in our production system. So we could butcher her if we wanted to, just butcher her for the meat and keep the meat here at home, but we really don't have a need or a desire to do that. We just took 216 chickens to the processor and we're getting 425 plus more in about 10 days. So we don't really feel compelled that we've got to butcher this chicken. I've got whole chickens in the freezer for the household, set aside for the household as it is. So we're just gonna let it be. We're just gonna let it be, see how she does, and go with it. So anyway, but wanted to show you all that because typically we don't have any meat birds left after a flock leaves. So for now, we had just set her up with some food and water down here in the corner of this, but we're going to get her moved to a totally enclosed chicken coop for the night here. Okay, so that's going to be her accommodations for the night so that she'll be safe. No predators will get her in there. So we'll keep you updated on how she does, do a few videos on her every so often, and you all let us know in comments what you think we should name her, and if you think we should just keep her and let her live out her natural life, or go ahead and try to let her finish the poultry and butcher and process her into a whole chicken. Looking forward to reading your comments. Please join us again here at Twin Oaks Family Farm. We greatly appreciate your support of our channel on YouTube. God bless you.